So today I am going to take a sutta on dependent origination. There is a lot of repetition. We will try to kind of skip some of them, but it will help you keeping this chart open. This chart which is there in the end, it will help you kind of certain. We will be just going from one, going back and forth on this chart. Okay, so this will help. नमो तस्सा भगवतो अरहतो सम्मा सम्बुद्धस्स नमो तस्सा भगवतो अरहतो सम्मा सम्बुद्धस्स नमो तस्सा भगवतो अरहतो सम्मा सम्बुद्धस्स. So this is Majjhima Nikaya 38, Mahatanha Sankhaya Sutta, the greater discourse on the destruction of craving. Thus have I heard. On one occasion, the Blessed One was living in Savatthi, in Jetha's grove, Anathapindika's park. Now, on that occasion, a pernicious view had arisen in a student named Sati, son of a fisherman. Pernicious view is a harmful view he had developed. And Sati, son of a fisherman, was a son of a fisherman, but he was also he was called son of a fisherman because he was not he could not tolerate the smell of fish. So they used to kind of jokingly remind him that Sati is a son of a fisherman. So that's the reason he used to call the son of a fisherman. As I understand the Dhamma taught by the Blessed One, it is this same consciousness that runs and wanders through the round of rebirths, not another. So now he had a view that this consciousness is permanent, and this is the same consciousness which is going around in the samsara. So that means that that consciousness that runs and wanders through the round of rebirth. So means from one birth to another birth, there is a single consciousness. He was giving permanency to the consciousness. So several kind of monks went to him and told him that what you have developed is a wrong view, but you should. But he was not willing to give up his understanding. Then they went to the Buddha. When they went to the Buddha, they said, "Call him, and I will speak to him." So then he comes to the Buddha. "Yes, friend," he replied, and he went to the Blessed One, and after paying homage to him, sat down at one side. The Blessed One then asked, "Sati, is it true that the following pernicious view has arisen in you? As I understand the Dhamma taught by the Blessed One, it is this same consciousness that runs and wanders through the round of rebirths, not another." "Exactly so, Venerable Sir. As I understand the Dhamma taught by the Blessed One, it is this same consciousness that runs and wanders through the round of rebirths, not another. What is that consciousness, Sati?" So he is asking question, what is this consciousness? "Venerable Sir, it is that which speaks and feels and experiences here and there the result of good and bad actions." So he is giving a personality to the consciousness. So he is saying that is speaking, it is feeling, and it is having the good and bad of the karma. So he is giving a kind of a personality to the consciousness. "Misguided man, to whom have you ever known me to teach the Dhamma in that way?" So he is saying that, have I ever taught it in that way? So do you have any kind of recollection that I have ever taught this? Misguided man. Misguided man is a kind of a very sharp thing for a Buddha to say. Because if you are guided, you reach the Nibbana. If you are misguided, you are lost in the samsara. "Have I not stated in many ways consciousness to be dependently arisen?" So Buddha is saying, I have taught many ways that the consciousness is dependently arisen. "Since without a condition there is no origination of consciousness." So there should be conditions. What are the conditions for the I consciousness to arise? There should be I and the object. If the I and object is there, then I consciousness arises, and that becomes the contact. That is what we went through the dependent origination. But you, misguided man, have misrepresented us by your wrong grasp and injured yourself and stored up much demerit. For this will lead to your harm and suffering for a long time. So, if you are having wrong ideas, you go into the wrong direction. If you have the right idea, you go into the right direction. Then the Blessed One addressed the students thus: Students, what do you think? Has this student Sati, son of a fisherman, kindled even a spark of wisdom in this Dhamma and discipline? How can he, venerable sir? No, venerable sir. So they say that no, he has no wisdom, he has no understanding. When this was said, the student Sati, son of a fisherman, sat silent, dismayed, with shoulders drooping, head down, glum and without response. So he was very sad to hear the Buddha kind of correct him, but he was not ready to give up his views. Later on, what happens is he leaves the Sangha and criticizes the Buddha, but he never kind of leaves his views. So views can be so hard. Somebody can hold on to the view very till the end. Then knowing this, the Blessed One told him, misguided man, you will be recognized by your own pernicious view. I shall question the students on this matter. So, after 2500 years also, after that we recognize him for his view, which is the wrong view. Then the Blessed One addressed the students thus: Students, do you understand the Dhamma taught by me as this student Sati, son of a fisherman, does when he misrepresents us by his wrong grasp and injures himself and stores up much demerit? No, venerable sir. For in many discourses, the Blessed One has stated consciousness to be dependently arisen, since without a condition there is no origin of consciousness. Good students, it is good that you understand the Dhamma taught by me thus. For in many ways I have stated consciousness to be dependently arisen, since without a condition there is no origination of consciousness. But this student Sati, son of a fisherman, misrepresents us by his wrong grasp and injures himself and stored up much demerit. For this will lead to the harm and suffering for this misguided man for a long time. Conditionality and consciousness. So now the Buddha is talking about conditionality and consciousness.
Question.
Huh?
Like in general, there is in society, different religions think in different way. Definitely, that view would make them long-lasting suffering. Can we say, but can we say that?
See, it is not that the Buddha is talking about not that every view which is against his view is leading to suffering. So what he says is that if you want to have the awakening or going towards the understanding, then the views which you want to have, it has to be in line with this view. So what he says that there are other also which will be there, but they should have that Four Noble Truths which is there, which is that understanding there is a problem, there is a solution, there is a kind of the way to reach the solution. That is what he has to understand. Now that Four Noble Truths, if one does not understand or does not have such a thing of giving up the kind of craving, giving up the hatred, giving up the delusion, then that path will not lead. But in another way, when he is talking about going to heaven and everything, what he is talking about is generosity and keeping the precepts. And now generosity and keeping the precepts is there in most of the things, philosophies or religions or something like that. Even in many of the things, they don't have God, like atheism. They believe in kind of not killing. They don't say kill anybody or steal. They have their own reasons to say that why killing is bad, why stealing is bad. So that is what this means, that if you are in line with the universe, because the Buddha kind of discovers and gives the information. But he does not kind of say that even if the Buddha is not there, these principles remains the same. If the Buddha is there or not, dependent origination will remain the same. So that is what he is talking about. Students, consciousness is reckoned by the particular condition dependent on which it arises. When consciousness arises dependent on the eye and form, it is reckoned as eye consciousness. When consciousness arises dependent on the ear and sounds, it is reckoned as ear consciousness. When consciousness arises dependent on nose and odors, it is reckoned as nose consciousness. When consciousness arises dependent on the tongue and flavors, it is reckoned as tongue consciousness. When consciousness arises dependent on the body and tangibles, it is reckoned as body consciousness. When consciousness arises dependent on the mind and mind objects, it is reckoned as mind consciousness. Such as fire is reckoned by the particular condition dependent on which it burns. When fire burns, dependent on logs, it is reckoned as log fires. So when your fire is there, when it is you are using logs, then that is called log fire. When fire burns dependent on faggots is a bunch of sticks. They they take sticks and they bake it a bunch. That is looks like a log, but that is not a log. So that's called a faggot. So it is reckoned as faggot fire. When the fire burns dependent on grass, it is reckoned as grass fire. When the fire burns dependent on cow dung, it is reckoned as cow dung fire. When the fire burns dependent on chaff, it is reckoned as chaff fire. That is rice or kind of the skin of the rice which is there. It is reckoned as a chaff fire. When fire burns dependent on rubbish, it is reckoned as rubbish fire. So too, consciousness is reckoned by the particular condition dependent on which it arises. So, if it is arising with the eye, it is eye consciousness, ear, nose, tongue, body and mind consciousness. General questionnaire on being. Students, do you see this has come to be? So, are you able to see this is the has come to be? Huh? So, yes, Venerable Sir. Students, do you see its origin occurs with that as nutriment? So, what is origination occurring? What is the nutriment? The eye and the eye object is the nutriment for the eye consciousness. So, it originates, that nutriment is that food we taught about. So, what is happening? The eye consciousness is arising because there is a eye and the object is there. Eye consciousness becomes this thing. Yes, Venerable Sir. Student, do you see with the cessation of that nutriment, what has come to be is subject to cessation. So, if you close your eyes, will their eye consciousness be there? No, it will also cease. So, whenever you are 6Ring, what happens is whatever is going on also goes. If there is a mind, there is a mind consciousness, there is a mind object, so there is a thought which is there and there is a mind consciousness which is there and that is going on. But what you do 6R? Or you take away your attention and put on the feeling which is there. Then what happens is this goes into the background. Then that is not being, nutriment is not there for that. So you understand. Student, does doubt arise when one is uncertain thus? Has this come to base? Yes, Venerable Sir. So why does doubt arise? But when you are not sure of how things are going, then doubt will arise. Student, is doubt abandoned in one who sees as it actually is with proper wisdom? So they say, yes, Venerable Sir. So why doubt is when you are seeing as it is? Will the doubt go away? Yes. If you are able to see what is happening in the meditation, then the doubt will go away. Student, are you thus free from doubt here? This has come to be. Yes, Venerable Sir. Now, Buddha is asking, are you free? Means, have you seen this in your meditation? So, as they were all advanced students, they said, yes, Venerable Sir. Students, has it been seen well by you as it actually is with proper wisdom thus? This has come to be. So, now he is asking again that have you seen it with proper wisdom? Have you seen it in your meditation? that this is comes and goes away, and when you kind of don't pay attention, then it goes away, that things are not there. They said, yes, Venerable Sir. Students, has it been seen well by you as it actually is with proper wisdom thus? Its origination occurs with that as nutriment. Yes, Venerable Sir. Students, has it been seen well by you as it actually is with proper wisdom thus? With the cessation of that nutriment, what has come to be is subject to cessation. Yes, Venerable Sir. So, everything is by nutriment. If I stop eating food, what will happen? I will also cease. Because that everything is based on nutriment. So your nutriment is your attention. So where you put your attention is important. If you put your attention on this feeling, then this feeling will grow and you can be in the feeling. If you put your attention on the thoughts, then your thoughts will grow. Because it is always mentally proliferation we discuss. So that is why you have to be sure where your attention is being put. Students, purified and bright as this view is, if you adhere to it, cherish it, treasure it, and treat it as a possession, would you then understand that this Dhamma has been taught similar to a raft? Raft is like a boat which we make, Like we can take some bamboos and take a kind of rope and make a raft. Raft is a very kind of a temporary thing. Okay? We make it very quickly. It is not a boat he is talking about. He is talking about a raft. Being for the purpose of crossing over, not for the purpose of grasping. Crossing over is what? The Buddha is giving an example that if you are here and over here a danger is there. Many things can go wrong. And there is a river, and beyond that river there is a safe place. There is no danger. So from here to go there, you will do whatever you want to do is possible, no? You will take the twigs, you will take the branches, you will kind of take the vines and make a raft. After making a raft, you will go to the safe place. Why will you want to be in the danger? So Dhamma has been taught in a way to kind of use practically to go from this dangerous place to a safe place. Okay? And it is not for grasping. It is not to be put on the head and made something big out of it. Okay? If you kind of pray to it and kind of put flowers and bow down to it, that will not help. You have to practice it. Only by practicing and using it to kind of cross over. That is what no, Venerable Sir. So they said no, that is not the case. Students, purified and bright as this view is, if you do not adhere to it, cherish it, treasure it and treat it as a possession, would you then understand that the Dhamma has been taught as similar to a raft, being for the purpose of crossing over, not for the purpose of grasping? Yes, Venerable Sir. So you don't use it as a kind of to possess it, but use it as a practical means to use it. Nutriment and dependent origination. Now there is a connection between nutriment and dependent origination. Students, there are these 4 kinds of nutriment for the maintenance of being that already has come to be and for the support of those about to come to be. What for? There are physical food as nutriment. I talk about the physical food, the roti and chawal and all these things which you are getting. Gross or subtle. There is physical food is also 2 types. There is gross food which we are eating. Subtle food is for the gods. So the gods have the foods which are getting, or the devas which are there, the beings, heavenly beings are there, they get subtle food. Contact as the second. So whenever there is some thought is there, or the thinking is there. So the food is contact. No, when the contact is there is feeling. Feeling is there is perception. Perception is there is thinking. So there the contact as food, as nutriment. Mental volition as the third. So the mental volition whenever you are doing. So we are seeing that my mind is distracted. Recognize. But there is no release. Then you are taking that as the whatever distraction is there as your thing. But you recognize and release. Then what are you doing? You are stop feeding it. So that is also, that volition is also, the food is there as a third, and consciousness as a fourth. So there are these four kinds of nutriment which are there. Now students, these four kinds of nutriment have what as their source, what as their origin, from what are they born and produced. So there is a central point for their being coming into being. These four kinds of nutriment have craving as their source, craving as their origin. They are born and produced from craving. So all of this is the root causes our wanting something. And this craving has what as a source? Craving has feeling as a source. So before craving, what happens in the dependent origination? There is feeling is there. Okay. And this feeling has what as a source? Feeling has contact as a source. So before this, and this contact has what as its source? Contact has six-fold base as its source. If you have this six-fold base, only then there can be a contact. And this six-fold base has what as a source? The six-fold base has mentality, materiality as source. And this mentality, materiality has what as its source? Mentality, materiality has consciousness as its source. And what this consciousness has, what as its source? Consciousness has formations as its source. And these formations, what as their source, what as their origin, and what are they born and produce? Formations have ignorance as their source, ignorance as their origin. They are born and produced from ignorance. So ignorance is the start, yes?
Can you explain mentality, materiality?
Mentality, materiality is the mind and body. So mentality, we went through that. Volition is there, perception is there, all those things which are related to mind. And body is elements which are there. Earth is there, water is there, fire and air. That is the elements. The body is made by elements. And this element is same as the all element which is outside. Yes?
One day I have doubt. Nutriments have been indicated, like physical food has a nutriment, contact has a nutriment. How this craving is related to contact? Like after contact only you will get.
This is a circle, you know. So this is a circle. So it's like mentality, materiality, and consciousness. Consciousness is after that. But without mentality, materiality, there cannot be consciousness, and consciousness cannot be there without mentality, materiality. So they are interdependent. So those things are kind of interdependent. So that is what these are a circle. So we can take it from any point actually. But Buddha is also taking from many points.
How food can be related as craving in this context?
See, food is when we want, when we are wanting something, that is the being. Okay, we want to be something. So now, because of that, we are born. And when we are born, what do you need? The first thing we need is food. So that becomes the kind of the thing. If there is no birth, then there is no need for nutriment.
The Buddha talks about rebirth, right?
Uh-huh.
Then what is common between this birth and the next, or what moves from this birth to the next, according to the Buddha?
See, Buddha does not say what moves. The Buddha says that whatever kind of there is what is that the mind which is there. Okay. There are karmic actions which are there, because of which there is rebirth. So then when this kind of ends, the consciousness over here ends, there is somewhere else the consciousness arises. But this consciousness which arises cannot be said to be a new consciousness, because the karmic dependence is there because of this new body. But it cannot be said to be an old consciousness, because each consciousness is different. So it cannot be said the same. It's a new consciousness. It cannot be said the old consciousness. So it is a continuation. So it's just a process which is continuation. But he does not say the mechanics of what goes through. So he says that is not important. That what the mechanics of this is not important. So the Buddha is not giving certain information which is not important for us in practice.
Can we say that wisdom carries over to the next birth? some wisdom.
Ignorance also carries forward. Your karmic action also carries forward.
Wisdom can be carried over.
Wisdom can also be carried forward. Yeah. Wisdom is carried forward, your karmic action is carried forward, your ignorance is also carried forwarded. So all the things which are there is carried forwarded. But what what is the process and what is that he does not say. One thing is mentioned over here, we will go through that, what happens between birth that is mentioned, which later comes in the later, we will discuss that. Forward exposition of arising. So students, with ignorance as conditions, formations come to be. With formations as condition, consciousness. With consciousness as condition, you can read and tell me. Huh? With mentality, materiality as condition.
Six-fold base.
With six-fold base as condition.
Contact.
With contact as condition.
Feeling.
With feeling as condition.
Craving.
With craving as condition.
Clinging.
With clinging as condition. With habitual tendencies as condition. With birth of action as condition.
Aging and death.
Sorrow, lamentation, pain, grief and despair. Such is the origin of the whole mass of suffering. So, that is all the origin of all the things suffering which is happening. Reverse order questionnaire on arising. With birth as condition, aging and death. So it was said, now students, do aging and death have birth as condition or not? Or what do you take it in this case? Aging and death has birth as condition, Venerable Sir. Thus we take it in this case. With birth as condition, aging and death. So he is going through this reverse. Then he says, habitual tendencies as the cause of birth. Okay? Then the clinging which is there, the cause of habitual tendencies. Craving as a cause of clinging. Feeling as a cause of craving. Okay? Craving as a cause of clinging and feeling as a cause of craving. Then contact as a cause of feeling. Then the six-fold base as a cause of the contact. Then he goes to mentality and materiality as a cause of the six-fold base. Then consciousness a cause of mentality, materiality. Then formations as the cause of consciousness, and the ignorance is the cause of formations. So that is how the reverse order of questionnaire is happening. With ignorance as conditions, formation. So it was said. Now students, do formations have ignorance as condition or not? Or what do you take it in this case? Formations have ignorance as condition, Venerable Sir. Thus we take it in this case. With ignorance as condition, formations. So he is kind of a recapitulation of arising. Good students. So you say thus, and I also say thus. When this exists, that comes to be. So now he is giving the formula in very simple terms, okay, like an algorithm he is giving. So when this exists, that comes to be, okay. With the arising of this, that arises. So he is giving in a very algorithm. So when this is there, this comes to be. If this arises, this arises. So he is just showing that it is just a dependently origination. That one is there, then the other comes to be. One does not make the other to come, but one is there because the other is there. Okay? So one does not become the reason for it, but when there is this arises, that arises. That is, with ignorance as condition, formations come to be. With formations as condition, consciousness. With consciousness as condition, mentality, materiality. With mentality, materiality as condition, six-fold base. With the six-fold base as condition, contact. With contact as condition, feeling. With feeling as condition, craving. With craving as condition, clinging. With clinging as condition, being or habitual tendency. With habitual tendency as condition, birth of action. With birth of action as condition, aging and death, sorrow, lamentation, pain, grief and despair come to be. Such is the origin of the whole mass of suffering. But with the remainderless fading away and cessation of ignorance comes the cessation of formation. So now what is he doing is, he's saying that what ends, if one thing ends, then all the other things ends. If the ignorance ends totally, then what ends is the formations. When the formations are not there, then there is no consciousness. When there is consciousness is not there, there is no mentality materiality. When the mentality materiality is not there, there is no sixfold base. When there is no sixfold base, there is no contact. When there is no contact, there is no feeling. When there is no feeling, there is no craving. When there is no craving, there is no clinging. When there is no clinging, there is no habitual tendency. There is no habitual tendency, there is no birth of action. And there is no death, sorrow, lamentation, and pain and grief all cease. So with the giving up of anywhere, the rest of the link is given up. So where you are giving up one thing, so when there is craving and you give up, then what happens? Clinging comes up? No. Because that is also given up. So when the craving is given up, that is given up. Say at the clinging you give up. Then will the habitual tendency come up? No. So that how, wherever you six are, the next steps will all not come. Such is the cessation of this whole mass of suffering. So now he is asking in the reverse also. With the cessation of birth, cessation of aging and death, so it was said. So it is very important to say that why the cessation of birth. So if there is no birth which is there, then there is no death and kind of sorrow, lamentation, pain, grief and despair. There is no this whole mass of suffering which is there. With the birth only everything happens. And when the Buddha was, before the Buddha became Buddha, when he was a Bodhisattva, he used to do an analysis also. That what is the reason for this death? What is the reason for the suffering? Oh, because of birth. Because of that it is there. Then he would say, what is the reason for the birth? Oh, these are the habitual tendencies which are there, which is giving birth. What is the reason for habitual tendencies? Oh, because I am clinging is there, habitual tendencies are coming. But what is the reason for habitual tendency? Then he says, oh, there is craving. That is the reason there is habitual tendency. But why is there craving? Oh, there is feeling which comes. So he was examining it in the meditation. Every time, and then he said, okay, there is clinging. There is feeling is there. What happens? There is feeling. Oh, there is contact is there. Okay, there is contact which is there. That is the reason there is feeling. What happens? Why is there contact? Because there is six sense base. But why do I have this six sense bases? Because there is mentality materiality. What is the reason for mentality materiality? There is consciousness is there. What is the reason for consciousness? There is the sankharas or formations. Now this formations is there because what happens, why is this formation there? There is ignorance is there. So that is how he kind of examined that, okay, what is one and one at the time, that is how he examines. So there is suttas where he is examining this. So that's why I said that he did all the contemplation and examination and experimentation. It was not something which was given to him. That's the reason he says that this is me, Samma Sambuddha, I am the self-enlightened creature. So that's why he says that. So this is the questionnaire. With the cessation of birth, cessation of aging and death. So it was said, now students, do aging and death cease with the cessation of birth or not? Or how do you take it to be in this case? Aging and death cease with the cessation of birth when represented. Thus we take it in this case. With the cessation of birth, cessation of aging and death. So that is how they go through the whole formula till the ignorance. Yes?
Without volition,
Mm-hmm.
you cannot put an end to anything, isn't it?
Volition is required.
You can change from wherever.
Correct.
Unless there is volition, you cannot break anything.
Correct. Very good. Very good. That is what the Buddha says, that there is no fatalistic, when they are telling about Buddha, about the fatalistic philosophy, the Buddha says that there cannot be any holy life if everything is fatalistic. Volition is there, that's the reason holy life is possible. That's a very good insight. Yes, that is the case. Because without that, then when they say, sab kuch karma ke upar hai, so then there cannot be any change, no? That volition is there, that's the reason we can siksar, we can let go. We can be away from our old karma because we are siksaring. That is the thing.
Volition can be called also free will.
Free will, correct. It can be called as free will.
In Pali, Chaitanya.
Yeah. That,
Chaitanya Vikrame,
huh.
Aham Adam.
Pali, the word, I'm not aware of the Pali word, but the volition has been given in the MN 111 VTech. So in the jhanas, the one word is volition, which is there. So now that volition is a part of the process which is there in the jhanic process also. So that volition is a part of the process. In the whole of the jhanic thing also, volition is a part. Because that volition is there, we can 6R. Or there will not be any 6R. 6R is right effort. Okay?
Is anatta non-self also related to dependent origination?
Yeah, dependent origination, when we see dependent origination, all these three things you can say. See, when we are talking about, say, any one thing, craving is there. Okay, craving is dependent on feeling. Okay, now if it is dependent on feeling, it cannot be permanent. Okay, if it is dependent on something, if there is no feeling, there is no craving. So now when it is not permanent, then it is also not self. So each of the link has the impermanence is there and the impersonality or anatta is there. Anicca, anatta is there in all these things. And it is Four Noble Truth is also there in each of the links. We can say there is ignorance. There is a reason for the ignorance. We discuss the reason for the ignorance. There is a cessation of the ignorance and there is a way to reach the cessation of ignorance. We can say for a feeling, there is a reason for the feeling. There is a feeling. There is a reason for the feeling, which is contact. There is a cessation of the feeling. With the cessation of contact, there is no feeling. And there is a way to reach the cessation of feeling. So in every step, we can also say Four Noble Truths are there. In every step, we can say impermanence is also there. In every step, we can say there is also impersonality of dependent origination. If you look at it, everything is there in that dependent origination, which is there. And there is a resistance also of all these things which is there. It is creating dukkha. Ignorance is creating dukkha. Craving is creating dukkha. So that dukkha is also there in each step. Good student, so you say thus, and I also say thus. When this does not exist, that does not come to be. With the cessation of this, that ceases. So again he is giving the formula that if this does not arise, this does not arise. If this is not there, that is not there. So when you 6R, when you let go one thing, then the other thing does not happen. So the breaking of that chain is very important. So whenever we are doing 6R, we are taking away energy from what is there from the past and we are giving energy to the present. But to the present, we are giving energy which is of wholesome nature. Okay? So we are letting go of that and coming to wholesomeness. Good students, so you say thus and I also say thus. When this does not exist, that does not come to be. With the cessation of this, that ceases. That is, with the cessation of ignorance comes cessation of formation. That is the whole thing which is. Such is the cessation of this whole mass of suffering. Student, knowing and seeing this. So this is the main part which I was talking about. Knowing and seeing this, would you run back to the past thus? Were we in the past? Were we not in the past? What were we in the past? Who were we in the past? Having been what? What did we become in the past? No, Venerable Sir. Why? Because if you know the what is happening, how it is arising and passing away, how this is working, then you know in the past also it was working in the same way. So you are not curious about the past. You are not curious of all the questions which is there. What are the questions? Were we in the past? Were we not in the past? What were we in the past? How were we in the past? Having been what? What did we become in the past? So all the curiosity of the past is not there. So I said, no, Venerable Sir. Then I will not be going into the past which is there. Knowing and seeing in this way, would you run forward in the future? Thus, shall we be in the future? Shall we not be in the future? What shall we be in the future? How shall we be in the future? Having been what? what shall we become in the future? No, Venerable Sir. So, if you are knowing the truth, if this is happening now, then what will happen in the future? This is the same thing which will happen. So, what has happened in the past is happening now, will happen in the future. So, you are not worried about the future because now you know what is happening. Now you are clear. And then he says further, knowing and seeing in this way, would you now be inwardly perplexed about the present thus? So, would you be confused about the present? Am I? Am I not? What am I? Who am I? Where has this being come from? Where will it go? No, Venerable Sir. So, they will not be in confusion about the present also. Because if you are able to see these things which are arising and passing away in your meditation, then you have no confusion in the present also. No confusion about the past. Yes.
But related to the context of here, Buddha is saying that shall we be in the future, shall we not be in the future? In general, we live in a society where we need to plan for something, we need to acquire something or something. Definitely, we need to have some sense of planning ahead to have a sustenance. What is your opinion on this?
See, this is the Buddha is talking about from the practitioner's point of view. Okay? Because the practitioner is worried about the kind of the being which is there. What is the being and how the being will perform, or how will it be there. When he is talking about the future, he is talking about the next life which is there. When you are when you are in the present, whatever is needed for the present, that the Buddha is giving in some other sutta where he is talking about lay people. So when he is saying lay person, he says 25% you have to kind of use for your expenses. 25% you invest for the future, for emergencies or something like that. You invest for emergencies. 25% you invest in something growth for the future. So if your business is there or yourself is there, 25% you have to invest. 25% you have to do charity. So that is what. So he is kind of talking about insurance. 2,500 years ago, he's talking about insurance. He's talking about reinvestment in yourself. In the business also, that is a fundamental. No, what are you reinvesting in your own business? So he's talking about that, but that is for the lay person. Now this is from a different perspective. That does not mean that you stop planning everything. For a monk, it is okay. We don't have to plan anything. We say, okay, whatever happens, let us see. But still, there is some plan. I'm traveling and everything that I have to plan. So that is there. But what over here it is saying is, what is this being which is there? These are the fundamental questions for what they say is of religion. But Buddha is kind of fundamentally kind of taking away the questions of religion. So as per kind of study of religion, you will say these are the questions which is there. What are the questions which is there? What am I? Am I not? What am I? Who am I? So now those are the questions. Somebody asked me, are we living in a simulation or something like that? That is the kind of questions which is there. Are we or are we not? So that is the question which is there. Where has this being come from and where will it go? That is the fundamental questions of religion. But the Buddha says that is not required. You don't need to know the future. You don't need to know the past. You need to know the present also. You will be clear when you know this. If you know your mind and everything, then you know what is going to happen. Then that is not a problem. Student, knowing and seeing in this way, would you speak thus? The teacher is respected by us. We speak as we do out of respect for the speaker. What would his answer? I'll read it once again. Students, knowing and seeing in this way, would you speak thus? The teacher is respected by us. We speak as we do out of respect for the teacher. What is the answer? No, Venerable. We are not talking just because we are respecting that. We are because we know we talk. That is what very good. Knowing and seeing in this way, would you speak thus? The recluse says this, and we speak thus at the bidding of the recluse. Means because Buddha is asking us, we are saying this. Would you say no? Because they said, no, Venerable Sir. Knowing and seeing in this way, would you acknowledge another teacher? No, Venerable Sir. Now, another teacher means that anybody else, would you acknowledge? They said no. But Bhante says that because you are your own teacher, okay? So you should not acknowledge any other teacher, because when you are learning this, you learn by yourself, and that is you are teaching yourself. Yes?
Okay, this dependent origination, could it be something like a simulation, like the matrix?
That is what I said. No, it is not. That is what the Buddha says, that those kind of doubts will not come because if you are able to see those things as you see clearly, then you will not have those doubts. Am I or am I not? That is the doubt which is there. That is totally rejected by the Buddha. And by the reality, I think so. That is a kind of a very strange kind of a thinking. Huh? No? No, Venerable Sir. Knowing and seeing in this way, would you turn to observances, tumultuous debates, auspicious signs of ordinary recluses and Brahmin, taking them as the core of the holy life? That's the key part, core of the holy life. So, thinking that by doing debates, by kind of observing kind of rituals, rites and rituals, you will attain awakening. So, he said, no, Venerable Sir. So, you will understand that they may have some purpose, the rituals and everything, but you will not take it as a core of the holy life. So, he's not rejecting rituals over here. He's saying there are rituals and things are there, but they are not the core of the life. It is not the main purpose of doing it. So, rituals can have its own benefits, but it is not the core of the life. Do you speak only of what you know, seen and understood yourself? What would be the answer? Yes, Venerable Sir. Yes, very good. So, only we speak about what we have known, seen and understood. Okay? And that is what we do it in our interviews also. No? Whatever you have known, seen and understood, only you have to say. You don't ask anybody, what is your experience, and then come and tell me. Because that has happened with Bhante once when he was in Korea. They used to be very competitive. So then they would ask everybody. Then Bhante said, if one day one person is reaching 4 chana, everybody every day, next day everybody is 4 chana, how is that possible? Then Bhante then asked, what are they doing? Then they called and investigated, and they found out everybody is talking to everybody. What do you feel? Okay, you feel this, I also feel this. That you should not do. You should not, that's the reason you should not talk to each other. You should remain silent, And that is, then you confuse yourself and you confuse others. Just be with your own thoughts. Good students, so you have been guided by me in this Dhamma, which is visible here and now. I told you about the visible here and now. If there is unwholesome in your mind, you know unwholesome is there. If there is wholesome in your mind, you know there is wholesome. That is visible here and now. Immediately effective. Immediately effective means you 6 hours and let it go. Okay, that is immediately effective. Inviting inspection. So when we know this, we can say, you come and see. Okay, Ehi Pasiko is that, no? You come and see. Onward leading means when you do this, it will take you forward. So everybody was started at one level, but now they are at a different level. So it is onward leading. To be experienced by the wise for themselves. So if you are a wise person, you have to experience this for yourself. Okay, nobody can give you that experience. Only if you do it and experience it, that is when you can get experience. So now the Buddha is talking about something which is the samsara, how this samsara comes and how the end of the samsara comes. The round of existence, conception of maturity. Students, the descent of the embryo takes place through the union of 3 things. Here there is the union of the mother and father, but the mother is not in season and the Gandhabba is not present. The Gandhabba is used a couple of times in the Buddha's teaching. The Gandhabba is Gandharva, I think in Sanskrit they say, but the Gandharva is the potential being. So now we have talked about passing away, okay? And then it seems that the consciousness or the mind is there in a temporary state which is called Gandharva, if it has to be born as a human. So that is kind of the state which is there, is not present. In this case, no descent of an embryo takes place. Here there is the union of the mother and father, and the mother is in season, but the Gandharva is not present. In this case too, no descent of embryo takes place. But when there is the union of the mother and father, and the mother is in season, and the Gandharva is present, through the union of these three things, the descent of the embryo takes place. The mother then carries the embryo in womb for 9 or 10 months. 9 or 10 months because of the calendar. Sometimes there is a this thing, moon calendar, it can be 10 months. With such anxiety as a heavy burden, then at the end of 9 or 10 months, the mother gives birth with much anxiety as a heavy burden. Then when the child is born, she nourishes it with her own blood. For the mother's breast milk is called blood in the Blessed One's discipline. So there is Hindi dialogues are also there. मैंने तुम्हें खून पिला के सींचा है ऐसे something. So that is what that is the old concept, I think. So now one of the things about is this heavy burden in the womb. So there is a lot of dukkha in the womb. We are not remembering, but baby staying in the womb is very difficult. So I saw a documentary in Discovery Channel. That time I was watching a lot of Discovery Channel. That was new in India, satellite TV. So Discovery Channel, there was a whole program about how the baby kind of goes in the 9 months. The whole 9 months was shown. I think if you, as of now it is available on YouTube. If somebody wants to kind of, then you can say Discovery Channel, Progress in Womb or something like that, and you may find that documentary. Now the baby is in a very kind of painful state. And it's a kind of very unhygienic state in that sense. The baby, if the baby is urinating also at one point of time, but the baby is there in his own urination, and then he drinks that own urination once again because there is nothing over there. So it goes back into his system and then comes back from his system. If he is kind of defecating, that defecation also is coming and going. So that is a very kind of painful and struggling kind of situation in the womb. So that's the reason Buddha says that you will not be born in the womb. That somebody was talking about Karniya Metta Sutta. In the end of the Karniya Metta Sutta, it says if you do this, you will not be born in a womb. That means that you will become at least a anagami or a arahant. So that is being born in a womb also is, Buddha is saying, is a very painful state. And then the mother is also in a very painful state. He has to, a heavy burden is there for the mother, and then that is, then the mother has to kind of make the child grow. Yes?
Does Buddha speak about premature delivery?
Not particularly, but he says that if there was some karmic reasons, then the age is less. That is what Buddha says. But he does not say specifically about premature. But there are, as I told you, the karmic, there are 3 ways the karmic can happen. One is it is the past karma which can come. Second is something done in the present. Maybe some thing which was taken in the present, which was not to be taken. Something happens in the present. And there is a happenstances also there. There is an accident which is there. So that can, so we cannot say that, oh, this has happened, this is the karmic reason. Some cases, maybe it is maybe very obvious which is there, but in most of the cases we cannot say the karmic, what is the karmic reason. It could be the present karma, it could be the happenstance, it could be from the past. So that is the thing which the Buddha says, don't worry about karma and how it works, or you can go mad, he says. So that is the reason you should not dwell too much on how the karma is working and how the results are coming. What you have to see is what is happening and in the present. Yes.
But this is not exactly related to the practice, but the context is, let us say one dies and consciousness stays in Gandhabba.
Mhm.
You said. Like how long that consciousness can be stay?
Why is it important for us?
Out of practice.
Because that is what there are many people who kind of make up those things. Like Tibetan Book of the Dead is there. It has a whole story about how it happens, what you have to do in this, and when the person is dying, they come. So those are the things. But Buddha was not interested in all those things. So we will go through this child who has been born, which is like a normal story about a child. When he grows up and his faculties mature, the child plays at such games as toy plows, tip cat, somersaults, toy mills, toy measures, toy cars, and toy bow and arrow. So there were a lot of toys in that time also. So the children had a lot of toys. So they were playing and enjoying the toys. When he grows up and his faculties mature still further, the young enjoys himself, provided and endowed with the 5 code of sensual pleasures. So he has all these sensual pleasures with forms cognizable by eyes. Means he wants to look at good and beautiful things. Okay? Sounds cognizable by the ear. So he wants to listen to music and something like that. Odors cognizable by the nose. You want to smell nice things, perfume, this, that. Flavors cognizable by the tongue. So you want to taste different things. Tangible, cognizable by the body. So he wants to kind of feel something and experience those things. Those are the kind of sensual pleasures. Tangible, cognizable by the body, that are wished for, desired, agreeable and likable, connected with sensual desire and provocative of lust. So all of this can lead to your attachments which are there. On seeing a form with the eye, he lusts after it. If it is pleasing, if it is pleasing. If he dislikes it, it is unpleasing. So now what happens is, whenever he sees something which he likes, that is pleasing to him. What he sees it does not like, then it is unpleasing. It is kind of painful for him. He abides with mindfulness of the body unestablished. So he has no mindfulness of the body. I told you that when you are in life, you are not aware of the body unless the body pains. If you kind of hit your hand, then you are aware of the hand. But if not there, then you are in the mind only. You are always going in the mind, but you are not aware of the body. So the mindfulness of the body is not established. But in the training process, what the Buddha said was, be aware of whatever you are doing, because that has to be done. So when you are eating, when you are walking, you have to bring that awareness, because naturally that awareness is not there. Because if you are not normally, this boy which is there is like all of us through history, throughout many lifetimes. All of this is us. He does not understand as it actually is, the deliverance of mind and deliverance by wisdom, wherein those evil unwholesome states cease without remainder, engaged as he is in favoring and opposing. So we favor something, we oppose something. Whatever feeling he feels, whether pleasant or painful, or neither pleasant nor painful, he delights in that feeling, welcomes it, and remains holding to it. As he does so, delight arises in him. Now delight in feeling is clinging. With clinging as condition, being or habitual tendencies come to be. With habitual tendencies as condition, birth. With birth as condition, aging and death. Sorrow, lamentation, pain, grief and despair come to be. Such is the origin of this whole mass of suffering. So what happens is, one wants something and goes after something, and there is clinging and there is craving and the habitual tendency, birth of action and death. Again the new cycle starts. He started with a cycle which was there as a Gandharva, and that cycle, and then ends in the death. It starts with birth and it again ends in death. And in the end, what is happening is he want. Something or the other he wants. Like that merchant, he said, oh, what happened to my shop? Who is there at the shop at the end? So we are all worried about what is happening to our shop. On hearing a sound with the ear, on hearing or or smelling a odor with the nose, on tasting a flavor with the tongue, on touching a tangible with the body, on cognizing a mind object with the mind. He lusts after it if it is pleasing. He dislikes it if it is unpleasing. Now, delight in feeling is clinging. With this, is clinging as condition, habitual tendency come to be. With habitual tendency as condition, birth. With birth as condition, aging and death. Sorrow, lamentation, pain, grief and despair come to be. Such is the origin of this whole mass of suffering. The ending of the round and the gradual training. So we went through the gradual training in 107. And this is the ending of the round. How the ending of the round comes to be? Here, students, a Tathagata appears in the world, accomplished and fully enlightened. Then he is giving the whole story of how a Tathagata will practice. And then after practicing, he becomes a Buddha. Having thus abandoned these 5 hindrances, imperfections of the mind that weaken wisdom, quite secluded from sensual pleasures, secluded from unwholesome state, he enters upon and abides in the first jhana. Then he goes to the second, third, fourth. That is what the Buddha is talking about, his own practice. The ending of the round and full cessation. On seeing a form with the eye, he does not lust after it. So I am missing something? Okay, one second. Okay. So on seeing a form with the eye, he does not lust after it, if it is pleasing. He does not dislike it, if it is unpleasing. So now what is happening when he is doing the practice of jhana? Then if something he is getting attracted to, when he sees something good, he is not attracted to it. When he is seeing something bad, he is not kind of displeasing. So whatever happens, that is the reason the mind which is on equanimity is very important. So now people are coming into equanimity and some people don't like it because that is not something which their experience is there. So when you are coming into equanimity, that is the reason we do it. So if there is something pleasing experiences come in your meditation, you don't get attached to it. When something painful comes, you don't get kind of repelled by it. So in jhanas, what the Sariputta said, unattracted, unrepelled, independent, detached. So free. So free from all kinds of attachments. So that is why equanimity is very important. So if this all the feeling goes away, then stay with that feeling of equanimity. It will help you. And if you enter a room, you have not entered any time before. Okay, there is strange furniture is there. Then at first you will not say, "Oh, what is this room is there?" You are confused by this room. But say you stay there in that room for some time, and then you say, "Okay, I can use this as a table. I can use this as a chair, and I can kind of sit here. I can do things over here." Then slowly you will come to know what is there. Say there are some designer chairs are there. You have to kind of take some time to understand how to use it. So now in that sense you are going into that space where you have not been. So it takes a little time to get used to it. Now get used to that and then continue with the practice, and it will be helpful for this. So it is when it is pleasing, you do not kind of lust after it. If it is unpleasing, you do not dislike it. He abides with mindfulness of the body established with a immeasurable mind. Immeasurable mind is what mind? Immeasurable mind.
Spaciousness.
Yes. Huh? Infinity. What is that state of mind? What is the practice we are in immeasurable mind? Huh?
Infinite consciousness.
Yeah, from there. From Brahma Viharas. That is the immeasurable. Okay? From metta, compassion, the sympathetic joy, equanimity, all of them are immeasurable. So that mind is immeasurable. With an immeasurable mind, he understands as it actually is the deliverance of mind and deliverance by wisdom, wherein those evil, unwholesome states cease without remainder. So now we are learning about whatever this thing is that, what to let go, what to keep, and not be kind of attracted to anything. And now we are developing the immeasurable mind. Having thus abandoned favoring and opposing, whatever feeling he feels, whether pleasant or painful or neither painful nor pleasant, he does not delight in that feeling, welcome it or remain holding to it. As he does not do so, delight in feeling ceases in him. With the cessation of his delight comes cessation of clinging. With the cessation of clinging, of habitual tendency. With the cessation of habitual tendency, cessation of birth. With the cessation of birth, aging and death. Sorrow, lamentation, pain, grief and distress cease. Such is the cessation of this whole mass of suffering. So, when the Buddha comes, he gives the teaching. When he gives the teaching, then we know a new way of doing it. Before that, there was no new way. It was all running after something or the other. But when Buddha says, okay, let go, let go, let go, let go, now we are in a different, so when you hear a sound, you smell something, you taste something, you touch something, you think of something, then there is no holding on to it or repelling it. Then you are in equanimity, you can experience everything and let go of this. And that will lead to such, would be the cessation of this whole mass of suffering. There is a conclusion. Students, remember this discourse of mind briefly. So this is a brief discourse, it's a short discourse. If I had read this in whole, it would have taken the whole night, because we kind of avoided a lot of repetitions. But this is teaching, because Buddha used to give the teaching for the whole night also. So this teaching, if I had not all the repetition, Bhikkhu Bodhi has also removed, and then I have removed a lot of repetition. So both of us in total have saved you a lot of time, or this will be 5-6 hours of this thing. Students, remember this discourse of mind briefly as deliverance in the description of craving. But remember the student Sati, son of a fisherman, as caught up in a vast net of craving, in the turmoil of craving. That is, in a net of craving. He is being caught in that craving because he wants that permanency. He is not able to let go. He wants that thing to be permanent. That is what the Blessed One said. The students were satisfied and delighted in the Blessed One's words. So this was the whole thing which starts when there is no Buddha. How the things work? It works without like a clockwork, And then when Buddha comes, then he gives us a new way to see.
Does the Buddha say Upekkha is the highest?
Buddha is mentioned in some of the things like what are the states which are the highest which are there. So he says nothingness and neither perception nor non-perception. They are the two things. If you had to get attached to something, it is either nothingness or neither perception or non-perception.
But from metta and the other states.
So there is no, in that sense, see, from the point of view of attaining Nibbana, so there is no higher or lower. First jhana is also okay, and second jhana is also okay. But from the perspective of this practice, when we are talking about this practice, we are going through the whole process. And that is also one way of doing a practice, because which is called, we are developing our concentration and our understanding in line. So that is the reason this practice, we will consider the feeling of this equanimity as the highest. Because this is the craving feeling, which is the feeling of equanimity. Only you can get from meditation. You cannot get in life. And that we'll see from tomorrow. There is a kind of in detail about the feelings which are there. We are going. There you will see that it cannot be there in life. It can only be there in meditation. This feeling, this state of mind. And this is the highest, purest state of mind which is there for a human being to reach. So you can feel joy in different scenarios. You can kind of feel happiness. You can feel tranquility also. But you cannot feel equanimity without meditation. So that's the reason this is considered to be the most superior. And as we are talking about the attachment and repelling, that attachment and repelling also, when you are there in the mind of equanimity, it's the best you can handle. Then you are not getting attracted or repelled. That is the reason it is considered. Yes?
Is being ambivalent the same?
Huh?
Ambivalent.
No.
It's not the same.
No. Tomorrow we will go through that. There is a whole series of question answers about the feeling. So So we'll go through that tomorrow. Tomorrow is a shorter series of question and answers. So there will be a lot of information tomorrow also. And we'll take the Eightfold Path. So there is a part of that which is there. Eightfold Path is also there. So there is a lot of questions are there. How do we know if a place is conducive to meditation or not? Goenkaji used to say there are helpful and unhelpful dhammic forces. At IMC Burma, Mother Sayaji used to use her psychic powers to create a protective shield around the student, which would help them make the breakthrough and experience the unconditioned state. So over here we went through the whole of the process. The Buddha said that nothing about any external help, everything has to be done on their own, our own. There may be some places which may be more conducive or not, but we have to overcome that. Even if there is a place where it is not, like a place, some of the monks went to a place where there were a lot of devas who were kind of harassing them. So they went to Buddha and said that, see, this is happening, this place is not right for us. You sent us over there, but that place is not right for us. There is a lot of disturbances. We think that there are a lot of beings which are harassing us. So Buddha said, no, go there and do the metta practice. So they went and did the metta practice. When they did the metta practice, all the beings who were there were happy. And they came to the monks and said that we will not harass you. You can stay as long as possible. We will not be. So then you have to overcome the conditions, not kind of run away from conditions. Then you will be always running away, because there is no perfect condition. There are always imperfect conditions. And that is the point of the Buddha. No? If there are perfect conditions, you can just go there and that is the end of it. So we have to be overcoming what is there. What is the meaning of Anagami, Saktakami, Arahant, Sotapanna? What are their characteristics? What are their necessary qualifications? See, for Sotapanna, they are called fetters, or things which are you are attached to, okay, in life. There are 10 fetters. So for a Sotapanna, there are 3 things the Sotapanna has given up. Now for a Sotapanna is called a stream enterer, okay, like somebody goes in the stream and then from the stream it goes to a rivulet, from rivulet it goes to a river, from river it goes to the ocean. In that sense, when you are in a stream, you will reach the end point. So that is the straw. So you will not see the 8th life. The Buddha says that even if you are very kind of, what is the word he uses, not careful, still you will not kind of see the 8th birth if you are a Sotapanna. Okay? So the Buddha promised that Sotapanna in the 7 lifetimes will become an Arahant. It's not that 7, it can be 3 and 4 also. It can be the next lifetime also, but it will not be more than 7. Yes?
But each life could be millions of years, no? If he is born as a deva, Brahma or something.
Yes. Yes, that can be. And then there are in the suttas, one of the interesting discussion we had, in the suttas, wherever the Sotapanna is mentioned, the Sotapanna is mentioned as going to the heaven and becoming an Arahant in heaven itself. That's an interesting point which is there. There was a discussion. So none of the suttas has mentioned the Sotapanna coming back and becoming. But that is not the case, because there are the Buddha is saying that there can be a 2 or 3 household life also. There is a gap between Sotapanna and Sakdagami, which is called 2 or 3 householder life. So that is also one thing. So so they do come. I'm not saying universally everybody will kind of go, but he gives up 3 things. One is he gives up doubt in the practice. He is sure that what I am doing is correct and it will take me forward. So the doubt in practice goes away. Then he understands that what I do outside, that is by rites and rituals, I cannot reach Nibbana. That does not mean that he stopped doing rites and rituals. Rites and rituals has its place. But he understands that rites and rituals will not lead me to Nibbana. Third thing is he gets insight into the impersonal nature of thing. Like he sees the arising and passing away. He sees that this emotion came, but I was not involved in that emotion. I could experience that emotion, but I am not involved in that emotion. Or he can see that the thought has arisen, but he was not the thinker. That is the insight into kind of impersonality. So he gets an insight into impersonality. The fully impersonal a person only becomes when he is an arahant. Because in anagami also there is a conceit which is there. There is a conceit which is still there for the anagami. So now what happens is there is a next stage, there is a progress. So he weakens the lust and aversion. Lust and aversion is weakened, then he is called as Sakdagami, he is a once returner. He has to return next birth as a human being, and when that would be his last birth, he will become an arahant in that birth. So then that is called weakening of the lust and aversion is there. That is a Sakdagami. Now he gives up lust and aversion. When he gives up lust and aversion, then he is an anagami. Okay. Now he has given up 5 things. The 3 things plus the 2 things he has given up. Now the things he has given is lust and aversion. So now if somebody says something to him, he is not offended by that. Or if he kind of consumes something, like Buddha gives an example, clear example as if he goes to a king's kind of feast and he is giving a king's food, he is not attracted, there is no danger. So he is not attracted to the best of the food which is possible, because for him the food is now just energy. So he has that food, but he is not attracted to that food. Now what happens is there are 5 very subtle things which are there still remaining. Now the subtle things remaining is, one is to become something in this life. So he may have a desire to become the greatest psychic person in the life, or he may want to become a arahant also. That desire also is there. So in this life he wants to become something. That desire is there. Then there is a desire to be born in the Brahmaloka. So he may have heard a lot or kind of experienced or want to become born in Brahmaloka. Now then he has restlessness. So restlessness is something which goes on till you are arahant. Only restlessness will go when you are an arahant. So there is restlessness is there. There is conceit. One of the examples of conceit I will give you. Aniruddha was who could see 10,000 world system. He had psychic power. In 10,000 world system he could say whatever is happening over there. So then he went to Sariputta and said, Sariputta Bante, I can see 10,000 world systems, but still I am not becoming an arahant. So the Sariputta says that you saying that I can see 10,000, that is also conceit. So that is what conceit is there. So there is a little bit of conceit is there. One other arahant is explaining conceit. How much conceit is there in a arahant? So he is explaining that, see, if you take a white cloth, which is very, from the factory you have got the white cloth, then now you muddy it in the sand, in the river sand you muddy it. Then you take very good detergent. What is the detergent now? Tide detergent, which is famous. Tide detergent you take and then wash it with the Bosch washing machine. And then that cloth you clean and bring that cloth. Now when you bring that cloth to the new cloth which is there, still there is a difference in the cloth. It is not as white as the new cloth. So that is the amount of ego which remains in a anagami. So that is what the Buddha is, that monk is saying. Now when explaining to him about this process of how much attachment remains, the monk understands his attachment and he gives up that attachment and he becomes an arahant. So it is a very small amount of ego which is there, but that ditthimana is there. And the last one thing remains. What is that last one thing which remains? Huh? Avidya, yes. So avidya remains, ignorance remains. So that remains in the even the anagami. Now anagami will not be reborn as a human. when he passes away, he can be reborn in the Brahmaloka. Now there is an interesting point in that also. If you are an Anagami, when you will become an Arahant. So the Anagami, even if he is a lay person, he can become an Arahant when he is on a deathbed. Within the 7 days of his passing away, in his deathbed, if he is there, he can become an Arahant. He can become an Arahant on the eve of his death, on the process of his death, just at the time of death, or when his consciousness or the mind has travelled from his body and have not reached the Brahmaloka. In between that, he can reach, he can kind of give up. Or when he touches the Brahmaloka, at that time of touching the Brahmaloka, he can give up. Or in a short time in Brahmaloka, he can give up. In a middle amount of time, he can give up. Or in a long time. When he is a long time, he has to 5 Brahmalokas are there. So one, he goes to second, to third, fourth and fifth. And then he so when Buddha went to Brahmaloka, Arupa Brahmaloka, that Anagami Brahmaloka, so when he went to there, he met disciples of the Buddha Kasapa. So Buddha Kasapa disciples were still practicing over there, still working towards being an Arahant. So that is a long time you have to stay over there, as you are mentioning. Over there much longer than millions of years, maybe billions of years you have to stay. But you are not coming back to Earth. So then as your attachment level is there, even these subtle attachments can take a lot of time to let go of. So don't kind of blame yourself that in 10 days you are not an Arahant. So it will take time, it will happen. Now what is this? How can I change my nature? See, changing your nature is not an instant thing. As you were talking about now, just now, it is with each 6 hour you change your nature. With 1 6 hour you change maybe 1 billionth, and second 2 billionth, so third 3 billionth. So each 6 hours you are changing your nature slowly. As much 6 hours you are doing, you are changing your nature. Because what is your nature? Nature is habitual tendencies. And what are you giving up when you are giving up this current thought? Your habitual thoughts. When you are giving up habitual thoughts, then you are putting your attention on something which is new. And that is how change of nature happens. And one of the things Bhante used to say is, how do you see if this practice has been successful? Your nature has changed. When you go outside and somebody says you are behaving differently, that is when you say that my practice is working. If somebody says you behave differently now, that is when it is there. That is how you change the nature. What are the merits and demerits of precepts? So there are no demerits of precepts. Precepts will keep you in line. So this is the boundary wall the Buddha is giving. Okay? And what the Buddha is saying about precepts is Hiri Uttapa, which is there, which is that moral dread and moral shame which is there. So because of moral dread and moral shame, you don't do an action. Okay? But you should not have guilt. If you have broken any precepts, you should say, I have done such and such wrong in the past. I cannot change the past. But strive to act in this way from now on. And that then you can take the precepts. So you should not have guilt. Guilt is not helpful, because when you have guilty, you do that more. Okay? Because your attention is where? You are guilty of eating ice cream. Then next time you will eat ice cream, because your attention is all on ice cream. And next time you will eat more ice cream. So that is how you create what you are guilty of. So that you should not do. There are no demerits of precepts. Precepts have to be maintained with having a kind of a moral kind of dread and moral shame. Means you have to have a fear of breaking the precepts. But once it is broken, kind of let it go. Say, I have broken it, I cannot change it. But I'll take the precept once again and ensure that I keep the precept.
Purification for our
Huh?
mind. Purification for our mind.
Purification for the mind. Yes. I forgive them or say sorry to them if required. Say personally. So see, if you are doing forgiveness, you don't need to say it personally, but it is in your mind. Your attachment is there. The Buddha says that like this, if it is this a coal piece is there, I hold this coal piece, who is burning? I am. So if I let it go, who heals? I heal. One other author says that if you drink poison and expect the other person to die, that is foolishness. So that is how keeping grudges and ill will in our mind is that it will eat us away. So letting it go is for us. So you don't have to tell the other person sorry. But if you say it is also helpful. One of these practices I did before I came to Buddhism, I had to go and say sorry to my mother. So I apologized to my mother for all. My mother kind of and my relationship changed. It was like a sea change. It was like it was a different kind of experience which I had. So sometimes having that in person can also help. But what we are saying is not that. For you, not just good, you are too good teacher. Okay. Yes.
This is not eating food after noon.
Uh-huh.
Why is that? What is the...
So it is for simplification of the practice. So when you are eating food, so you have to go initially for the monks. What happened was when the monks were going, when they were going, they had to go in the night where there were no street lamps or something like that. So they would fall in ditches and all these things, and people would get afraid, oh, who is coming in the night. So all these things were happening. So the Buddha says, don't have the food in the night. Then later on, the Buddha said that you can have ease in body and mind if you are eating one meal a day. So then Buddha incorporated 1 meal a day and said that you can kind of sustain yourself because of that. Now, for this practice which is there, we are using the concept of, or in the all of the kind of Buddhist practice, there are suttas which are there where there is a fortnightly, the new moon and the kind of the what is it called, full moon. Full moon and new moon, they used to have a full night process of 24 hours. They used to stay in the monastery and kind of do the practice. For that, the Buddha said that you should not eat after meal. So you can practice and focus on your practice and not on digestion. Because if you eat food, then the food has to digest and all these things happens, then it becomes difficult to practice. So then that is the reason. Yes?
This forgiveness meditation, is it a process that we have to learn, or can we just use it while doing this?
If you can use it when it is needed. So if it is needed, you can use that practice. And if you feel that you want to do it, you can do it. Because that is a very powerful practice of forgiveness meditation.
So we mentally say, I forgive that person or whatever.
Yes, there is a more verbal thing. So but it is mentally. So if you want and if you are interested, you can speak to me. Then I can give it to you. Okay. So, Bhante, can you give brief instructions of forgiveness meditation? In which kind of mind states should I be using it? In this 10-day retreat, and for how long? Can you please give a few minutes of guided meditation for me? See, forgiveness I will give only when it is needed. What I can give is later on, if everybody needs it, we can share the Bhante's talk of forgiveness. He has a book also. Then there is a 2-page instructions. So we have made a group. No, we have not made a WhatsApp group. So we can add you all to our Twim Asia WhatsApp group and share that. And maybe we can also send you all emails with that details. Okay, and then we can add one or two, like Nevermind book PDF is there. We can send you all those details. Okay, so let us and everybody over here is in a kind of a, not everybody, but the majority of us are in a very good kind of meditation. So continue this meditation. Don't interrupt with this thing, forgiveness. I can give forgiveness to 1 or 2 people who kind of want to check it. Anybody who is written that he wants to try forgiveness, come to me. If you want, you come to me now also, and I can give you now. Okay?
What kind of
Yeah.
things